Give a hand for my friend Larry Dee guy. Hi, Larry Dee. LDG is what I call her. He's a 9-time NFR qualifier. He's big enough. That's right. That's right. 1995 world champion team roper and a wonderful, outstanding horseman, Mr. Tyler Magnus. Give him a hand. I've said NFL all week long, but you could be. Look at you. You do look that big. You do. You do. I guess you just be blocking then, wouldn't you?
That'd be the center for sure.
That'd be good. The center for sure. How's it going, everybody? Y'all doing all right? It's been busy. I'm sure I've seen y'all in and out of here, signing autographs. Probably been running all over Las Vegas, I bet.
A little bit.
Yes, yes. As I mentioned, WPRA world champion header right here, Larry Dee guy. That's a special honor right there. I know you work hard to do that, but talk about that real quick, winning that world championship heading.
Well, yeah, you work all your life to do something like that, and I was fortunate enough to ride a good horse that a friend of mine loaned me. Not that I don't have 20 of my own, but, you know, I had to borrow.
Mm-hmm.
And Todd Hughes let me borrow his horse, and then I had the best healer a girl could possibly get, and that was a net stalls now.
Right, sure. Tyler, you've been to the NFR 9 times. You're a world champion. Talk about the team roping so far this week. What's it looking like to you? I've heard a lot of talk about bigger steers. It's different than it's more, you know, maybe what you've roped in the past, and, you know, than the last maybe 3 to 5 years. You know, they've been smaller steers. But talk about the steers a little bit for us.
Well, it is different. They're steers that are like we used to rope. You know, to sound like an old guy. You know, everybody likes to sound like an old guy and a couch roper. And,
right.
It's not easy when them guys are in there. They're the best in the world. That's why they're here.
Yeah, yeah.
They've made a few adjustments, and you see a few horse changes, and they'll figure it out. But nobody's roped cattle like this in 8 or 10 years.
Right, right.
Well, a lot of these, I'm going to say, some of these guys out here have never ran a steer that big. With horns that big.
Do you think
so? It is definitely an adjustment.
Do you think
the way those steers look, they might have ran them 8 or 10 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Might have been some I roped when I was here.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Do you think the change is good for the sport?
Well, I do. I think change is good, and it doesn't matter. The cream always comes to the top. They could run Spanish goats in there, or they can run these 700-pound steers.
Right,
it doesn't matter. The best guys are here, and their talent's spoken for. They wouldn't be here.
Yep.
They'll figure it out.
And I guess, you know, all 15 teams, they have to ride, you know, rope those particular steers, you know, and so it's an even playing field.
Everybody has so much respect for each other.
Right, sure.
They know at any time that, you know, 4 or 5 won't place in the round, and they also know at the same time when you're pushing and going that hard in that smaller conditions, there's way more things can go wrong than can ever go right.
Right.
It's easy to sit and watch and say, well, you know, shoot, I could do that. Well, you can't.
Right.
You know, that's why they're here.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes it interesting watching, and it's no different than the Super Bowl or anything else, except those guys get other chances and they get a lot more help.
Right, exactly, exactly. Larry Dee, you've got all kinds of stuff going on. I mean, and I want to briefly talk about all of it, you know, from training horses. I know you and Trevor Brazil, you know, work hand in hand on some horses. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, yeah, we've known each other all of our lives, and we've worked together training horses. I help him, you know, when he's off on the road and just needs something tuned up, or he might call and say, you know, can I send one here, or do you have something I could ride?
Right.
We work well together, and you know, he was a blessing to me, and helps me with my roping as well as, you know, my horses and stuff.
Right, sure. Folks, this is kind of a special deal here. When I think of horsemanship and riding horses, this is it right here. Larry Dee Guy and Tyler Magnus. Tyler, talk about, you know, horsemanship. You know, when I think of you, that's, you know, that's what I think of. You know, I've watched you for a long time. You're a hero of mine, but you're a hero of mine because of the way you ride horses, you know, the positioning, you know. Talk about how important that is. It's not just swinging a rope and catching that steer, is it?
No, and that's the adjustment you'll see the guys making this week. There's no doubt everywhere you go, and especially here, you know, all 30 guys can rope. That's a given. And anywhere you go in any roping now, the competition is so tough. Everyone there has the opportunity to win the roping. I would say 80% of the teams entered. You, Larry Dee? At any roping you go to, I don't care whether it's a number 4 cap draw pot or an open.
Right.
80% of the teams entered have the ability, personal, physical, human ability to win first.
Right, sure.
The people who can ride their horses the best and manage their horses the best, make adjustments when they see cattle change, the barrier change, they're going to win all the time.
Right,
they're
sure.
giving themselves a chance. And,
Sure.
you know, for me, just riding horses has just been a passion to do. It's
Right.
not a job. That's what I've known I was going to do since I could ever remember doing anything. That's
Right.
just what I do.
Sure.
So I've been fortunate to get to do something I like to do and still have a passion to do, and hopefully I have 3 kids and they like to do it as well, and that's the most fun I've had is starting to take them now. And
Right.
but it's never felt like a job. Any day it has, you know, y'all get down times and think that this one's not doing what he's supposed to, or I'm not. More importantly, I'm not doing what I should be doing to help him do it. But 5 minutes later, if that long, you know, you're back on him again.
Oh, yeah, doing it again.
It's a disease.
Yeah. Larry Dee, I always hear the term, you know, as far as your horse being broke, I think a lot of people just think that, you know, that means your horse doesn't buck or something like that. But talk about, you know, your horse being broke as in, you know, standing in the box or standing behind that rope and dummy while you're on your horse and being able to rope that dummy with your horse being still, you know, or bending. You know, it's not just, you know, a horse being broke isn't because he's not bucking anymore. You know, kind of define, you know, a broke horse to us.
Well, you know, I get all the, you know, I do train good horses,
Yeah.
and fortunately for me, I buy good horses.
Right, sure.
And they are already broke.
Right.
You know, they come out of the cutting pen, or they cut out of the working cow horse or reining. And, you know, the guys behind the scenes that do that, and I say behind the scenes, they're great trainers at what they do
Right.
and their disciplines. And, you know, they're the ones that get those horses to, you know, to handle and do the things that they do. And then where we come in is once we get them, they do catch their leads, they
Right.
do bend, they
Right.
do stop,
Sure.
they break at the pole, they do all these things. And, you know, where we come in is getting them where we can swing a rope and
Right.
and get them broke at our discipline.
Sure.
And it's a good horse makes you a good horse trainer.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I'm not saying that we don't get some in there that don't make us look
Oh,
very
yeah.
good. It's
Oh,
the good
yeah.
ones that make us look
Sure,
good.
absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. Tyler, I always hear the term, you know, which I want to mention this as well. Tyler is the host of Roping and Riding, and it's on RFD. And you probably run into this a lot, but we're streaming live on nrsworld.com. You know, there's a lot of folks out there watching. But talk about, always hear the term, you know, a guy or a gal that's just starting out roping, they're going to go buy them a 5-year-old horse, and they're going to learn together. Is that a good idea, a bad idea?
No.
What's your opinion on
It's
that?
a bad recipe. I tell you, if everybody put the same mentality and the same work ethic into their roping, or the mentality of what they're going to buy and how they're going to, you know, the goals they have for the roping as they do any sport or any job they have or have had, anything they've had success with in their life, they'll have the same success in this.
Right.
Because it's their hobby, you know, this is the only event in the world that I know of that everybody tries to do it backwards. They try
Right,
to go
sure.
fast first. We don't
Sure.
do it in baseball, basketball, football, your job.
Exactly.
It's just not done in any other walk of life except roping because it's a timed event. But
Right.
it's common sense, simple things. You know, I think horses get so misconstrued as, you know, like Larry Dee said, great horses make great trainers.
Right.
You've got to start with something. And the biggest thing that people don't understand is time,
Right.
the time it takes. People assume that a good horse is just good, like he falls out of the sky.
Right.
He'll get in your way faster than a bad
Sure.
one because he can. He's athletically wired to do that.
Right. Right.
That's the biggest misconception people have, but go buy something that's old. Don't be scared of that. With the
Yeah.
feeds now, the pads, the saddles, the trailers have gotten better. Horses have gotten better. When you say, Larry Dee, when we grew up as kids, you rode some cold-blooded, man-killing.
Yeah.
They were horrible.
Yeah.
Horses have gotten better. Training, the knowledge is out there. You know, people like Larry Dee that are doing it and
Right.
helping so many kids. And, but it's still, there will never be a replacement for time on her back.
Right. And when you say an older horse, I mean, you recommend maybe something 10, 12 years
No,
old? You know,
older.
Older than that.
I don't care if
that.
they're at 19 or 20.
Right, sure.
If they go spend, they can buy that horse for $3,500 to $5,000.
Yeah.
Cheapest thing they'll ever do.
Right, sure. And
Don't be worried about that at all.
And the people that, you know, I think they get the younger horses because maybe they're less expensive. But if you get an
They're
older
way more
horses-
expensive when
Really?
you're done.
Yeah.
Because you get hurt.
Right, in the end.
To think of the time they spend, and I see so many people pull up in a, you know, maybe $150,000 rig and
Right.
unload a $1,200 horse,
Right.
and then put up another $2,000 to ride him,
Yeah.
and they lose, and the roping paid $3,000, so they lost another $3,000.
Right, sure.
That's
sure.
the way I see it. That's what that horse cost me.
Right, exactly.
That's why I look at a horse. What's he going to keep me from winning?
Right, sure, sure. There he goes. Ask Strand Smith. He knows. Larry Dee, you've got your hands in a lot of stuff. I want to talk about, like on your Facebook, you know, I keep seeing this Rope Like a Girl. And it's a brand that's out there. You know, you've got, you know, T-shirts and saddle pads, and it's a positive message. But tell us about that a little bit. I see it a lot.
Well, you know, I grew up, my brother, he was an NFR calf roper and stuff, and I was 3 years younger than him. And, you know, I was always told, don't rope like a girl. You know,
Right.
you step up and
Sure.
try to rope like a man, and that's the truth. But, you know, these days there are some women that can rope and women that can do a lot of things. I mean, just like he said, times have changed, and, you know, we do things. And it's almost like trying to get positive imaging for women.
Right.
You know, to say rope like a girl. I mean, you look at Annette Hinkle-Hill or Annette Stalls now. I mean, she's a number 7 healer.
Right.
There's a lot of guys that'd like to do what she could do.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and there's so many women out there now that I think rope good and ride good. And, you know, it's, I mean, no, anything that has to do with power and strength and endurance. I mean, women can't be, we can't be Trevor Brazil.
Right.
But there's a lot of things that I can do good,
Sure.
you know, and women can do good that I think it's just something that we need as women, and this positive imaging in it.
Right. And everything I've always, you know, as far as women go, have taken from it. I've always seen it in golf as well. You know, you get to swinging too hard, and you get away from your fundamentals, and you can watch, you know, a lady go up to that, you know, to tee off on that golf ball, and everything always seems fundamentally correct, you know, and you don't have to, you know, hit that ball as hard as you can, but it seems like the same way like with your roping, you know, it's just, it always get back to the basics, you know, with
Right.
your riding and your roping and your swing and your delivery, and that's kind of, I guess, where you are going with that, you know. It's a great message.
Yeah, it is, and that's the thing, is if we can ride good and we can, you know, use our fundamentals and basics, I mean, we have a chance of competing, you know. And there's the World Series team roping. There's lots of women that's won first out there in those certain numbered ropings, and
Right.
I mean, it's, I don't know, it's something that I feel that we can do if we'll
Right.
approach it in the correct way.
Absolutely, and I think it's great what you're doing as far as, you know, that goes, and it's starting, you know, the ladies are starting to take steam, you know. I mean,
Right.
and we see it in Texas a lot, you know, and you know, I'm not sure about the other states, you know, in that, but you know, you go to a calf roping, and you know, you and Hope and the others, you know, Jackie Hobbs, I
Yeah.
mean, they'll beat you in the calf roping, and I'm not talking breakaway. I'm talking about flanking and tying calves. They will beat you, and I think it's wonderful. It's
Well, I
really good.
appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Tyler, I want to talk about, you know, y'all brought to us here by Spalding Fly Predator, and I know if people have questions about that product, you know, their booth right back here in which they'll be signing autographs, but talk about, you know, Spalding, but talk about sponsors in general, you know, getting down the road, and talk about that a little bit for us.
Well, sponsors are very important, vital. Everyone, you don't have to be a mathematician to figure out that no matter how good you rope, you're not going to win enough money
Right.
with your rope to pay for your truck and your horse and
Sure.
to get there. You got to, you know, reality bites, but that's fact. You know, it's not going to work.
Yep.
So if you're going to be realistic about what you're doing and what you're riding is the only way you have a chance to win.
Right.
You know, things like the Spalding Fly Predators, you know, the saddles, the pads, the horse feeds.
Right.
All the sponsors that are available in helping these guys go now. Without their support, I can pretty much guarantee you then wouldn't any of them be. Very few of them would be here, right, Larry Dee? Maybe
right.
5 out of the 15,
Right. Sure.
realistically.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
and, you know, for the young people, take care of your sponsors. It's not about nearly as much about what you do in the arena. They want to know what you're doing outside the arena.
Exactly.
You know, how you act, how you present yourself, who
Yep.
you'll talk to after you biffed one in the back of the head or you broke the barrier
Right.
to win the rodeo.
Right.
Somebody walks out to your trailer and wants to know about your product, better be able to drop it and
Absolutely.
you know, if you're going to take their money, you better be able to back it up and represent their product.
Right, sure.
So
sure.
to me, it's not a given. It's a two-way street. You know, there's been a lot of things that it's the only way it will work.
Right.
And so, you know, stay loyal to your product and make sure it's a good product to start with, and won't be any problems.
Right, exactly. Larry Dee, you rope with Cactus Ropes.
Right.
Talk about them real quick and kind of what they've done in their ropes and what you think about that.
Well, the guy that makes them and takes care of us so much is, you know, Barry Bird, and he's amazing. I mean, he'll call and check in with me. How's your ropes? He's always there. If any question about, if I have a question about why this one might have got stiff or why this one did this, what do I need to do? He's like, I'll fix it. I'll tell you how to do it.
Sure.
I mean, they're the best. I mean, they're so kind, and the ropes are great.
Yep.
I mean, they're great ropes.
Right.
All of them.
Right,
I use the relentless ones, and of all of them that they even make, they're amazing ropes.
Right, sure. Tyler, you're still going down the road. I know that you're probably home a little bit more, and especially with the TV show and all that good stuff. But I mean, we see you at the George Strait, you know, and the Spicer Grip and all that. But what's your plans this coming year?
Well, I don't get to go as much. My children, 14 and
Right.
12 and 7, and so my son and I, he likes to go and rope. So is my daughter. And so I haven't been to the last 3 or 4 years, 25 or 30 rodeos. You know, 250 days of schools a year.
Yeah.
I've tried to, and as they get older, the less I try to go. But, you know, now with you know, the American rodeo coming up,
Sure.
excuse me, and a chance to win $1 million. I ain't gonna lie to you, I've been roping a little bit.
Right, absolutely.
Working out, I took a week, went to the U.S. Finals, and went to 4 or 5 of the fair rodeos this fall. But, you know, I hadn't practiced that way. I've roped every day, and always will, I hope. But really kind of shut it down and practice for 4 or 5 days just to really see if I could still do it, you know, or if I had the horse to do it, or if I wanted to do it.
Right, sure.
So it's a stage in my life. It's about my family, and you know, there's always that balance of the time and how much schools I have to do, and you know what the risk and reward is to going to the rodeos. If I have the right horse, that's the whole thing for me. Always has been.
Sure.
If I back in the horse on a horse that I like and I enjoy riding, I've got confidence in him, well, I can do a lot of things with my rope. But
Right.
if I'm back in there, and no matter how good I feel about my rope, and if I don't have the right horse, especially to fit my partner's horse,
Yeah.
I'm not going to go. I mean,
Right.
we've all been there, and it's
Yeah.
not very profitable
I
or
hear
fun.
you. Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to go a little bit.
Good deal. What you're doing, you know, as far as the TV show and everything, I think is really good. It's changed, you know, team roping. You know, you didn't have access to stuff like that. You know, I mean, it was trial and error. You know, but I want you to give website, you know, all of that good stuff. How can they? You know, I mean, you're doing Facebook. You know, I see questions. People can ask you stuff, but how can
I
they?
don't, but people do, yeah.
Yes.
I'm
How-
the most technically illiterate person you'll ever meet.
Right. But
yeah, they can go to just tylermagnus.com. The
Right.
show's on RFD 3 times a week.
Right. Sure.
You know, it's just a way to hopefully, my idea about it when we started it 7, 8 years ago now was to reach a broader amount of people, you know, in a shorter amount of time.
Right. Sure.
And hopefully along the way, and team roping does evolve. It continues to evolve and change every day.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes the sport so big and why it does grow so much is anybody can do it.
Right.
There's a level playing field for anybody, no matter whether you're 8 or 80.
Right. Sure.
And there's a roping for it.
Right. Sure. Exactly.
And the ropings they have now, it's not like, you know, Larry, when we grew up, if you went one weekend and you won 1,000 or 1,200, boy, you kicked them. I mean, you did good. You went to 3 or 4 amateur rodeos and you won good. You roped good.
Sure.
Now, I mean, you have a legitimate, realistic opportunity to go win just where we live, within 3 hours of your house or my house, and in most states. But I know we're fortunate to have more ropings and more people and better ropings. Arizona, us.
Right.
But you know, from $5,000 to $50,000 every weekend out here, 150, 200,000
exactly
to go catch 4 steers under good conditions.
Right.
There's no draw. You're not going to get taken out of it by who set the barrier or.
Exactly.
Primarily you're not going to draw a bad steer. It's a roping contest. And,
Right,
and
sure.
that's what it's evolved to, and it's changed people's minds, especially in the horse industry. A mediocre horse won't cut it anymore. You can't come out here on a mediocre horse and give yourself a chance to win. It's just not going to happen. And that's what it keeps evolving. I don't know where it's going.
Right.
Feeds get better. You know, the fly predators, the breakaway loop we just come up with, training methods to help horses. And to me, and you tell me if I'm wrong, about 5 years ago, maybe 6, human beings figured out that they'd taken roping as far as they could take it.
Right.
they'd reached as far. You'd studied how to rope a calf's neck as tight as you could rope it. We had to figure out how to get our horses better.
Right.
To me, that's where we're at now.
Right, sure.
The people that score, leave flatter,
Yep.
a quarter of a step, not even a jump.
Yeah.
Where a horse puts a foot a quarter of a step makes a tenth of difference here, 2/10 of difference
Right,
there.
right.
That's where we're at now.
There's so many people that can rope.
Right,
I mean,
sure.
It wasn't like that. There was very few people that could really, really rope.
Right.
I mean, it was a handed art, and there was so many people that wanted to know how to rope, but there was very few that really knew
Right,
how.
sure.
And now it's unbelievable how many people can rope from the age of 8
Right.
to 80.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and the horses are it's the ticket
Yep.
now. That's
And
what you have to figure out, how to use them and how to make them better.
Right, sure. And Larry Dee, how would you recommend, somebody out there watching, as far as tracking down a new horse, an older horse, do who do they call, or who do
Me or
they?
Tyler.
There you go. I mean, but I think a lot of folks, that are getting started, they don't know where to start, or maybe they think they do, but it's incorrect, that kind of deal. But I guess the best advice is for them to do their research, and this is part of it. Watching this on NRSworld.com, watching the roping and riding, but you guys can fix people up, as far as horses go.
Yeah, and I mean, he said it better than anybody is the older the horse and the greener the roper,
Right.
the better situation.
Right, sure.
And I'm not saying to just go buy an old horse and think he's going to be
Right,
great, but
right.
you know which ones are the good ones. You look around, you go to the ropings in your area, and you see a horse and he's a good one, and you know that he would fit your program, then go do it.
Right.
Don't go buy a breed of a horse just because Trevor Brazil had Texaco and he was an
Right.
own son of dual pelp, and you say, well, I'm going to buy his
Oh,
brother.
yeah.
Well, don't think that's always going to work out.
Right,
I'm not
sure.
saying that it won't, but
Yeah.
the odds aren't very good.
Right, sure.
But you go and you watch Jay Corkill ride Jackal in the Heelan, and he's been here with other
Yeah.
people in the past.
Right.
Well, you know
Yeah.
that's a good one.
Exactly. I'm not going to keep y'all long, and I appreciate y'all being here. Larry Dee, what's on track for you for 2014? What do you got coming up?
Well, just more rodeoing and
Right.
lots of schools and training a lot of young horses. I got a lot of young horses at the house, so
Right,
I got to
sure.
kind of get home and get after that,
Oh, yeah.
and hopefully get the rope like a girl thing
Yeah,
going good.
it will, and good luck with that.
Thank you.
Tyler, we appreciate it. We appreciate you being here. They're both world champs. They're brought to us by Spalding Fly Predator. Their booth is right back here. Y'all are probably going to go sign autographs, and they can ask the guys with Spalding back there questions and stuff like that. But y'all give a hand to Tyler Magnus and Larry Dee Guy.